Hi, welcome to Visual Studio Toolbox. I'm your host, Robert Green, and joining me today is Eriawan Kusumawardhono. How are you doing, Eriawan?
Hi, Robert. I'm good and fine. And so also thank you for having me.
Great, thank you for being here. Uh, you're joining us from Jakarta.
Yes, Jakarta, Indonesia.
Sure, it is 10 o'clock at the moment.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's 10 o'clock, 10 p.m.
Okay, and I'm in Utah. It's 8 a.m. So just so you viewers know, the hosts and the guests, you sacrifice to bring you the latest and greatest in Visual Studio. You guys get to watch this at your leisure. We have to get up early and stay up late, but we're happy to do it. All right, we are going to talk about modernizing apps, which is a great topic because we have lots of existing apps, and sometimes and often we want to modernize them. And I like many of our viewers, have modernized many apps in my time, and I always had to do it by hand. But finally, there's a way to get some help, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm very excited. Um, but before we do that, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Eriawan Kusumawardhono. I'm basically just a .NET software developer or software engineer. And I'm also not just focusing on that, and also the surrounding ecosystem like the open source of the .NET itself, and also the .NET Foundation. I've been part of the .NET Foundation committee for onboarding a new OSS project, open source project, as long as it is using and based on .NET. On my daily job, I'm also managing software developers as well, and we are also trying to contribute back to .NET, especially the .NET open source repos. And other than that, during my participation, and I'm grateful to be a Microsoft MVP.
Fantastic. Okay, so what's new in modernizing application? Why are we doing this show? What's new?
Before I'm going to present what's new, I'm going to have some little bit background first. This modernization is actually had been there, if I'm not mistaken, since .NET 7 or 8. But at that time, the tool is a little bit. I'm not going to say not complete, but it's only focusing on certain scenarios and without any assistance such as Copilot. I know that Copilot is everywhere. It's like it doesn't have the additional help, and also more on that. I mean, like the creativity or having some more contextual knowledge, because
Right.
yeah, and I know that we are now have some. I think it's a little bit fading now, but it's still there. The five coding and many things, and also the rise of the agentic AI. I mean, regarding all of the Copilot or not, I think yeah, there is a good and healthy competition there. Honestly, I like about that. Having more competition is good, not just for Copilot itself, but also for us as a developer as well. The one thing I'm going to present is way more enjoyable, but also there is still a little bit more attention or notes to be taken care of. Like I'm going to focus on WinForms and WPF. We know that those two only runs on Windows, but the problem is actually can be more complex. And at this time, I'm going to show you the simple samples for now. But I'm going to give you some little bit tips and also some kind of guidance if you face some other kinds of complex scenario, which I'm going to explain it later.
But those types of apps are usually the hardest, have traditionally been the hardest. Up years ago, we had a sample that was a WPF
Mhm.
expense reporting app, and we moved it to a Xamarin-based expense reporting app where the data and the services live in the cloud. And that was an awful lot of work, and it's obviously extremely useful to do something like that, modernize an app like that, but they've traditionally been very hard and therefore the last to get modernized, and you might just throw up your hands and rewrite from scratch. So,
Yes, yes. And I'm going to open this one is a sample repo and class. I made it. I fork and made it uh, at the dashboard. Okay, I'm going to click this and open to see that we have a solution with many projects. This is actually a more like a WinForms thing,
okay.
and class is basically some kind of a simplistic UML editor, unified modeling language, the notation of having a class diagram and so on, so on, so on. The nice thing about this project is it doesn't have true complex canary, but at the same time, it really leverage many of the WinForms capabilities like resource, some icons, and so on, so on, so on. I'm going to use GitHub Copilot.
Can we run it first before we modernize it? What's it look like?
So this is not yet modernized. So the initial run is this. You see that there are some deprecation warnings, but let's ignore it for now. Okay, so this is the apps. It's very simple. So yeah, I'm not going to fully discuss the apps right now, but basically this is a full WinForms app. And let's go to GitHub Copilot. So before that, I'd like to give some historical context here. I'll try to be quick. Previously, when we are trying to modernize any kinds of desktop app, HPNet Core app, and so on, we can use the Upgrade Assistant. And since 2026, I think the Upgrade Assistant is somehow will be deprecated. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when look at the Assistant Manager, and if I start using this keyword, you will see the Upgrade Assistant is the topmost here. And there's a note here starting from Visual Studio 17.14.17 or later, you no longer need to install this extension. And this is replaced by the modernization done by GitHub Copilot. As long as we enable the tools modernization, enable legacy or not, and then we should restart. I mean, if we are going to still use this one. So basically, I will close this and I'm going to do the modern. So there is should be option here, and we see now this icon modernize icon. This icon will be available as long as you install the option of GitHub Copilot and also GitHub Copilot for modernization, which is okay. Let me open my Visual Studio installer here. So
That's an optional component.
yeah, it's optional, but I think as long as you okay, let me try to open this one. It's part of the .NET Desktop development by default. So
Okay.
so I think yeah, this one. So there are two, Copilot and also web modernization. Yeah, to close this. So now we are going to modernize this. When I do this, I could do this to on other machine that has the free account. As long as you just going to explore, I think it's enough. Also depends on the model you are going to use. For now, I'm using Cloud Sonnet because as far as I know, and this is based on my own personal experience, Cloud Sonnet is more creative in a sense that it is also more friendly to help me. So
Okay.
I use this. If you want to use the other kinds of model, this is the current supported model. You have GPT-5, Cloud Sonnet 4. I use 4.5. You can also use GPT 4o or 5 mini. But according to my own experience, if I use GPT 5, sometimes it is a little bit slower to process some prompt and other kinds of requests based on my prompt. Then you are free to experiment. And I'm going to back to my Solution Explorer, right click, and just modernize. And then okay, it should be showing some kind of modernize, but we can also do this from the prompt. Modernize. Yes, run it. So this yes,
Obviously, the bigger the app, the longer it takes.
Correct. Yeah. This is why I use this sample for this demo. Yeah.
But I would imagine the more often people use it, the more it will be able to take a look at your app and see that it's done that type of stuff before. So you would
Mhm.
expect it to get quicker over time as more people do it, right?
Yes. Yes. So
Model itself kind of gets a little smarter about recognizing.
correct. Yeah.
Cool.
Usually, the philosophy of having to choose a model, it will have more knowledge only if there are many kinds of sample has been done or has been used and has been processed, because then you will have a richer knowledge
Mhm.
to be used for the data for this model. Okay, now it says here, I think it's correct. Currently, all your projects are targeting .NET Framework for 7.2. So let's check. Is it also the properties here? So this is for 7.2. Yeah.
Mhm.
And if I go to properties in this one, it's also using 4.7.2 as well. All of them. You can also check the original repo of N class on GitHub. Okay, go back to the Copilot here. There is a help. Would you like me to upgrade to entire version to new .NET version or specific version? I say I would like to upgrade the entire solution to a newer .NET version. The best way for the prompt to work well and within our expectation is try to be specific as possible. So I'm not going to just supply the newer .NET version. I think it's better to have some specific version targeted. But before that, I would like to know what kind of scenarios that I have now. I could just ask here. Great scenario do you have or for me to upgrade to, let's say I'm going to specify .NET and .0. It tries to translate and also process the prompt. It may take a while. It tries to analyze the whole source and repo for now. And you see that we have the initial assessment.
Wow.
So that should be, yeah. Since I'm specifying the version, it gives me the complete explanation of .NET 8, 9, and 10. Previously, when I tried to learn to give a nice prompt, if I'm not specifying the version, it always give me the 8.0 and 9.0. And I have tried to use the clouds on it, and also have tried to use the GPT-5. Those two give the same result. So I think we are good now. It said here, new. And the nice thing is, they are going to create a new branch.
Okay. Oh, good.
Yeah. So our current branch will not be affected. This is why I truly love this regarding what kind of model are you going to use. But basically, the basic guardrail is already there. And you see, it creates a new branch of upgrade to .NET 10, dash 1. So now I'm working in the new branch here. And it tries to do the assessment.
Gives you all kinds of great information about what it's doing. Yeah, about how long does it take to do a simple project or a medium-sized project, you think?
So this is very simple. It will not take more than total of 10 minutes actually. But for more complex project than this one, like let's say if you what is the sample for that? Let's say I think there is a old legacy app like uh, a pet shop of Duamis, if I'm not mistaken. If you take that and try to convert it here or try to upgrade using this Copilot, it will take more than 12 minutes. I've
Okay.
tried that, and it also depends on how your internet speed. Unfortunately, we now have a nice report of the upgrade plan here in form of Markdown. You see that it lists all of the dependencies, including the NuGet packages, and if it's able to deduce, okay, this one is recommended for .NET 10, and the other package is already there. I mean, built in within the .NET 10 libraries. And it is accurate. I've checked this one by one before. This is so nice. And it says here, okay, this kind of project is using DCFM on net 472, it will be updated to net 10 and so on, so on. And it will be migrated to use the SDK style instead of the old, CS Prox thing. I just click, type continue, and let's see the automated upgrade. Hopefully, this should not take more than 2 or 3 minutes. The nice thing about this agentic AI, it really knows the context of the whole source code. As long as we can have a simple repo, like there should be only one solution. Because if you have more than one, you have to tell the modernized which or what solution are you going to focus on. And the recommended way is try to separate the solution and the project within that solution into a separate folder if you have more than one solution. Because I have tried to do that, and the result is is not good actually. Yeah.
Well, the nice thing is it was smart enough to create a new branch. So
Yes.
if you don't like what you wind up with, you haven't ruined anything.
Yep.
And if you want to try various models, you just create multiple branches, and
Correct.
then anything you don't like, you just throw away.
Yep.
Or, if it's a personal project that you don't happen to have up in any kind of source control, you can just make a copy of it and play around with it. So you haven't
Yep.
actually wrecked the existing version. And then you can see what it did, use it as a learning exercise.
Yes.
It's kind of a nice way to test this out, even on an older project. Just make a branch or a copy of it and see what it does.
Yep.
And then pay attention to what it's doing, because you want to learn, you want to understand what it's doing. A lot of stuff should be pretty straightforward. It will also help you migrate to Azure if you want to get your database in the cloud or your services in the cloud or something.
Yes. Yes. We can do that. Yeah. Although it's a little bit tedious because you really have to specify the correct prompt with the correct intent, and also with the specific things that you have to be careful about that. Because I've tried to migrate ASP.NET Core, I mean the old version like ASP.NET Core 5
Mhm.
to ASP.NET 10, and I have to really guide the Copilot to ensure that if you had found some errors or compiling, because the mechanic of upgrading the .NET Core 5 to .NET 10 or .NET 10 is not that simple due to the new features like minimum API and so on, so on, so on. You have to guide the prompt further, but it is doable. Yeah.
All right, so now it's done. Now, in true transparency, what we did was Eriawan and I sat and watched it for 10 minutes, but we cut that part out of the video. So you guys didn't have to sit here and watch it go for 10 minutes.
Yes.
So it's finished upgrading. I see a lot of green. I see some red. What happened there? Let's review.
Yep. Let's review.
Are those
If we just
errors?
Mhm.
Did not build?
It says some types are not found.
We
But
updated 8 out of 11 projects.
yes, so I think we have a good progress because we can say that most of them are green.
So let's take a look at some of the reds. What
Yep.
happened?
Okay, for example, this one, it's hard to see from within this. Okay, assembly import.
Spaces could not be found.
Mhm. So let's try to. Okay, this one. Some namespace could not be found. Actually, this one is there, but somehow it could not find. So, but we can fix it because previously, if we go to the original version or previous branch instead of the new batch, it is still working. So we could do some fixing,
Okay.
and I think it is not quite long because these references to an R parameter and many things are just class libraries, and you can start to modify or update something, but it should not be more complex. PDF export or okay, this one first. Assembly import test and try to rebuild because I need to see the
No, it's
errors
everyone.
here. Yeah. and this is also the same. We need
Yep.
references to an error parameter. So I think fixing this, as long as the error keeps recurring, is quite easy. You
Right.
just go back and check the previous branch.
Okay.
Looks
So
like
then when Copilot hit those errors, did it stop modernizing those projects or did it continue on and you just have to fix this issue? So, in other words, if you resolve that issue, do you have to go back and modernize that project again? Or did it upgrade it, but there are issues?
it tries to upgrade, but there are issues.
Okay.
So let me check. But somehow, okay, on my previous experience when I first tried to use this, some CS prods are not yet converted. So let's check. The first one is assembly import. Because all of the SDK project has the characteristics that you should be able to view the source. Okay, it is converted nicely. You see now we have a .NET SDK style project here,
Yep.
and I think this is a good thing. The other the next problem is try to solve these references. So it says here it need this DLL. You can go back to the previous branch and do some fixing there. But my point is, I think all of them are nicely converted. Yeah, okay, I just double click. You see, all of them are nicely converted to use the SDK style.
Yeah.
Why is this not working? Okay, so let me see. Is this? Oh, sorry. Okay, this is one other case that I mentioned. Sometimes it is not yet converting this, but I think on my previous experience when I try to modernize my ASP.NET MVC, the .NET Framework MVC to the ASP.NET Core, the process is longer than this one, but you can fix the previous dependency because the remaining project other than the GUI is the dependency for this GUI. As long as the dependencies is fixed first,
Mhm.
are fixed first, and then we could try to continue to fix this
Okay.
because it,
So just what we're showing is it's definitely an iterative process. You definitely want to do it on a branch or a backup of your code.
yes, yes.
Um,
So
and then it's iterative. So, don't necessarily expect that you're going to modernize the project, walk away for half an hour, come back, and it's perfectly done. There will be things that you have to fix. There will be there will be hiccups that you run into, but it should all be fixable. So as long as
yes,
you understand that, that and reflecting, that's probably pretty easy to fix. And then what you might want to do is do these project at a time, go back and fix that reference, then upgrade that individual project if it didn't go the first time around.
yes, yes. And we could also see the whole holistic report here,
Mhm.
and you see that there are it finds some errors, and you you see that we have recommendation here, recompile and reflect library. I think this is nice, but sometimes this step doesn't really solve. So you really have to do some manual fixing.
Well, actually, this is great because there are
Yeah.
dependencies in old projects that
Yes.
aren't modernized. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're using that particular library, and we've all run into this. We've got code that uses a library from 10 years ago, and that library hasn't been modernized.
Yes.
And so if you're relying on it that heavily in a project, that might uh, interfere with your ability to update the project. And now this gives you the opportunity to potentially move to something more recent. Or in fact, you don't want to do that, then perhaps this is a project that should just stay where it is.
Or
Well,
we could.
actually,
Yeah.
I love the fact that you didn't get all greens because, we don't want to show people, hey, look at that. You get a project, you modernize it, it works perfectly. That you would
Yes.
run into issues. And
Mhm.
we've seen a couple of them.
It may be related to because 2 hours ago before I do this, I upgraded my Visual Studio, my VS 2026.
Okay.
So Yeah, it seems like it gives more complete and detailed report, and it tries to stop for any missing references. I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So I think this was a great demo. It's a great tool.
Mhm.
Again, the recommendation would be to just play around with it. Take an old project and run the modernizer, see what you get, learn what it's doing, learn does it do what you want it to do? And then once you have a better understanding of the tool and a better understanding of maybe which model you like better, how it helps, are there limitations in the tool? Are there limitations in your code? Um,
Yes.
and then it's just awesome that you have this helper that can help you modernize these projects and can identify that library, that reflection library. When you're going in, you want to modernize this project. You might not even remember that you were using it. You certainly aren't necessarily going to know that that specific library is going to be an impediment. But you run this tool, and if nothing else, you learned, oh, this is going to be harder than I thought because I used this library that isn't going to that's going to get in the way of the modernization. Now, what do I
Yeah.
do about that? Do I want to take the time and what's going to be involved in swapping out that library?
There is also good sample. For example, I mean, since .NET 5.0, the binary formatter is actually obsoleted, and I think
Okay.
starting from .NET 9, they started to give warnings not to use binary formatter, because then you have to fix or just replace with the system.text.json classes. This modernization actually doing that. The previous person doesn't know how to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If you follow some error, like there is a binary formatter and it has some warning that you should replace this, and this guy, this GitHub Copilot modernization actually fixed it, which is something it takes me about more than 2 to 3 working days, just exactly to see what's going on and try to analyze, and then okay, it can be just one day if
Mm.
you have some experience before that. But having this kind of agentic AI truly helps and truly cut some other longer analyzing time just to find out what's going on, because we we are experienced developer often that, oh, I know I've faced this problem before, but I don't know, or I forgot how to do it. And this is a good thing to help us. We are still the main pilot, but having a co-pilot would be easier and also would be very nice to have
Yeah, it
help
is.
and support, right? Yeah.
It is awesome. All right.
Yes.
That was fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us some introduction to that tool. It's a great thing to play around with and
Yes.
to see how it helps. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you next time on Visual Studio Toolbox.